my two top virtues for myself are kindness and respect. Those two circumvent everything else. If you can't show respect, I'm done. Don't want anything to do with you.
Mhm.
If you can't show kindness, not interested. And so for me, that's actually why Bushido stood out so much, because those were my virtues to begin with. And then I found out that, again, I use compassion and kindness interchangeably, but I found out that those were two of the virtues of Bushido.
Welcome back to With Hat and Cattle, where we bring you stories from people who are walking the walk and leaving you better off for listening. Today, we have in the studio guest Ely Delaney, who is known as the People Whisperer. So, Ely, it feels like we're at a point in history where there's so much division. You
Yeah.
can forget there's another viewpoint.
Yes.
And so, taking the time to listen and understand where the other person's coming from can go such a long way. And it kind of feels hand in hand with what you're speaking into, like the nurture part to it. Am I
Yes.
far off?
No, very much so. And it's so, and this kind of goes back to, like, I talked a little bit about the Bushido, which is the code of the samurai. You
Yes.
were talking about that earlier. So I got into Bushido in 2020 after the world blew up and all the things happened. Right.
Mhm.
Um, it helped me get through a lot of that, because there was a lot of other things. I always tell people, it's like COVID was the least of my problems when 2020 hit.
Right.
And that was one of the things that helped me get through it. And I even took the seven virtues, and they're part of the book as
Mhm.
well. But they go into, these are life things. These are things that we should be doing on a regular basis. Virtues that make humans better humans, which are things like honesty and integrity and respect and kindness, loyalty, all these. I mean, you say these words, it's like you can't think of a bad thing about these.
Right.
These are things that we should be doing on a regular basis. And you're very right in the fact that we are in a very chaotic, volatile society right now. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that we're having, more so than anything else. And this is why the communication is so important, because especially in 2020, so many people lost the ability to communicate properly.
Right.
And that's part of my goal, both in the book from a business standpoint, but in life, is to help people get back into that understanding. How do you communicate? How do you don't have to like somebody or agree with somebody to respect them.
Right.
You can still respect them, and you can be very kind to them. You can be kind to them. They don't have to be kind to you, and you don't have to like it. But if you can be kind to them, you are a better person by doing that. And we do these things. If everybody would stop and embrace these basic virtues, the world would be such a better place almost overnight. And that's where we have to be the leaders in this arena.
Mm.
And we need to go back to this. I'm very much into, go back and study ancient intelligence. It's the other AI. You know.
That's if you haven't trademarked that, that's a pretty cool line.
Yeah. Yeah. You go back to the ancient intelligence and look at the things that helped create some of the best wisdom of the world. And they were very, very core, basic ideologies. There's so much there. You look at, Buddhism, you look at Stoicism, you look at Bushido. These are the three that I focus on. And those three, and it's all about how do you think properly? How do you act properly? Like, from a Bushido or from a Buddhism standpoint, it's called the Eightfold Path. And it's basically right actions. Are you doing the things you should be doing, or are you doing the things you shouldn't be doing? All of these things are what makes us better if we can embrace them. And so that's kind of the path of where my everything that I stand for goes that way. Obviously, from a business standpoint, yes, I use email marketing. That is my specialty and that's
Mhm.
my tool. But it's all the same stuff. Everything I talk about, the stuff that I put in the book, I actually wrote. It's the seven virtues of email marketing, essentially.
Yes.
And I took those same virtues and I'm like, okay, this is what it means over here. How are you honest in your emails? How are if you're sending an email saying there's only three left, but it's a PDF, that's inauthentic,
Mhm.
because PDFs are infinite. You can make as many as you want, you know?
Yes.
I mean, silly, stupid things like that, but those are the things that actually make a point because but then every time you break one of those virtues publicly, you lose trust. And whether you're using it in your business, which I think in today's world there's a lot of lack of,
Mm.
or just on a personal day-to-day basis and the communications of people that you talk to. How are you being loyal to your family, your friends, the people that stick up for you? Because if you can be loyal to them, they'll be loyal to you. And we're not talking about anything fancy. We're talking about, what would you say about them when they're not in the room?
Mhm.
Say something nice. Don't say the negative stuff.
Yeah.
If you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all. I think that's what my mom taught me, right? That's where these things come into play. And I think that, like I said, we are at a very volatile point of the world, not just in the US, but in the world,
Mm.
that if we can make a movement and get more people to follow these basic virtues, these basic ideas that will help us become better human beings, it will make a difference and start growing to more people. And hopefully the world gets in a better place.
It's writing a book, so many people wanna do it, and it's hard to have the dedication to actually follow through, but
Yes.
you did, and listening to you speak about these 7 virtues and how it tied into your email marketing,
Mhm.
it's obvious you're very passionate. What was the why that got you through to the finish line?
I'll be honest, the
Eh
the why to get it done was because I was like, "I'm gonna get this thing done fast." And I'll give you the whole timeline because it's
Yes.
actually funny. So, we talked about the first 2 books, and those were like
Mhm.
2013, 2014, right? And then
Yes.
I just was not in a mood for a book for the longest time, which is so funny because I am a writer, but I just wasn't in the mood for that. And then it came back up just in the last few years where a lot of people were like, "Okay, which of your books is about email?" Well, neither of them really. I mean, the first one has some email stuff in it, but neither of them are really about email. Like, but you're the email guy, right? I'm like, yeah. You're like, so why don't you have a book on email? I was like, well, because I haven't stopped and written it. And I got asked that enough. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
well, geez, I probably should write the silly thing. So I started thinking about it. And I was very heavy into, I really actually wanted my next book to be around Bushido and these other philosophies that we're talking about. And then I was like, but I really need to put this one out there, especially considering I am the email guy and this is my business. I should write a book on email. And I was like, wait a minute, how can I mix the two together? What if I did the 7 virtues of email marketing? And that's kind of where it started, 7 virtues that help you build relationships through email. And so that's the subtitle of the book. And that's how it got started. And it was actually the day that I made it public that I was doing it
Uh-huh.
was October 31st, Halloween of this last year because I was, Cheryl Powers, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I was the MC for her author symposium. And so we were talking to authors, we're talking to publishers, we're talking to ghostwriters, a whole group of people. And I was like, all right, I'm going to make this public. And so I basically put it out right there. I've been thinking about it. I had a bunch of people bug me about it. I'm going to write the book. And so this is the book that I'm writing. And at the time, I got a little ahead of myself and I was like, and I plan on having it done before January. Now this is October,
Yes, I
end
was like, "This
end
is
of October. Yeah.
fast."
But I had actually put together the outline and the outline came so fast. I'm like, this is going to be really easy for me to write. Which ultimately it was, but life happens, business happens, clients take priority, all that kind of stuff. So it took way longer than I wanted it to. But it was kinda cool because I just kept pushing away with it, and then I got it launched April 14th. So, I mean, if you really think about it, it's like I didn't even start writing
Yeah.
my first chapter. I actually started writing Thanksgiving week of that
Mhm.
year and just kinda kept going with it, and I was like, "Nope, I'm gonna get it done," and it still took longer than I wanted, but that's still, what, 4 months, 5
That's
months?
extremely fast.
Yeah, and it's so funny. I'm beating myself up over the whole thing. It's like, "God, this is taking forever." And then I was like, "No, wait a minute, dude. You know people who've been writing their book for like 5
Yeah.
years and they still haven't finished it yet. So chill out." And So I was really happy to get it done. The motivation to get it done was because I knew there was a demand for it. A lot of people kept asking for it.
Mhm.
I was very excited about the crossover between the two sides of business and philosophy,
Yes.
and taking those two together. It was a very unique approach that I hadn't seen before. I thought that was kind of fun. And I'm very, very proud of how it turned out. One thing that's been the number one best piece of feedback that I've gotten from it
Mhm.
has been so many people have read it and they're like, Eli, this is like sitting down, having a cup of coffee, listening to you talk. It reads so smooth and it's so good. And for me, that means a lot.
Yeah.
Like, even if they get nothing else out of it, which I hope they do, but the fact that it to them, it felt like me just talking to them, which literally shows this is what I do. I am a writer,
Yeah.
but I write in such a conversational form that it is designed. That's what I want. That's my goal with it. And I do this with my clients is I want them to read it and hear my voice when I'm working with my clients. I want to read it and hear their voice. And when you can do that, it's a very different connection. It's a lot of fun. And so for me to get that kind of feedback from people has been amazing. And I love it. And a lot of people are like, this is really good. I expected it to be a boring book because I'm not interested in email, but this was really good. I get it. I'm like, okay, obviously I did something. It wasn't completely boring. So
Yeah.
that's good.
I when we because we typically meet weekly through the networking group that
Hmm.
we're a part of.
Yep.
And when you were talking about the book, one of the first things that came to mind is there's a series that ties like superheroes to it's like Spider-Man in philosophy,
Hmm.
Spider-Man in psychology, for
Right.
example. And so when you mentioned that this tied in the Bushido principles
Hmm.
to email marketing, I'm like, that's cool because it's an unexpected pairing. But you're so right. It comes down to at the end of the day, the connection.
Yeah.
How are you connecting through to a person through this medium? And with these 7 virtues for
Hmm.
you, which one do you find at the top of the list? Like if you could only fold one in, and I know
That's always
you're
hard. Yeah.
gonna fold all 7.
Yeah.
I know personally,
Yeah.
but you had to pick one.
Um, so are you talking about related to email or in general?
Ooh,
Because there's a different answer for each of those.
ooh, can we do both?
Okay, we can do both. From an email standpoint, integrity, because you need to stay in integrity with yourself, and I tell people, and this it's in the book, is like you need to stop and ask these questions before you hit send. Is this helpful for them? Is this only beneficial to me? And would I like, if I got this email, would I like enjoy it? And think about your answers when you read that, because I had a client that I went through this exercise with, and she was like, "Oh, yeah, I don't think I'd like that very much." And so she went back and rewrote her email. So that is it's a good filter to go by before you hit send on, and it goes on again on anything. Email is my medium, but even posting on social media, same thing.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, it is so integrity is on that side. On a personal level, compassion, which is to me, compassion and kindness are interchangeable.
Uh-huh.
My two top virtues of my for myself are kindness and respect. Those two circumvent everything else. If you can't show respect, I'm done. Don't want anything to do with you.
Mhm.
If you can't show kindness, not interested. And so for me, that's actually why Bushido stood out so much, because those were my virtues to begin with. And then I found out that, again, I use compassion and kindness
Mhm.
interchangeably. But I found out that those were two of the virtues of Bushido. I'm like, all right, I kind of like this thing. Let me check it out a little bit more.
How did you find it?
I honestly couldn't tell you where exactly it came from. I think I'm not positive about this because it was that whole era of my world was very hazy during that time. But I saw a meme basically that had a picture of a samurai and it had it's essentially the samurai's prayer or the warrior's prayer. I read this and I can't rattle it off, unfortunately. I should know it by now as many times as I've said it, but I read it every time. I have a great big poster on my wall that I read every day, just repeating it over and over again just to get it in my head. Like I said, you'd think I'd have it memorized, but my brain don't work that way. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then so I was like, okay, what else is there? And then as I did some research related to like this quote in Samurai, then Bushido came up. And so then I went down that rabbit hole and figured out what the 7 virtues were. And when I read the virtues, it was like, I like this. This
Mm,
makes sense.
yeah.
And that really resonated with me.
It sounds like it came when you needed it at
Yeah,
a point in
absolutely.
your life, and that's why it
Absolutely.
resonated.
Yeah,
So I can hear some of my friends, well, I don't have a business, Dani. I don't need email marketing. But this could even be tied into the email you send to a friend, to a
absolutely.
family member. I mean, how many of us, and sometimes for us, those personal relationships
Hmm.
they're more intimate. And so the feelings that, the
Right.
reactiveness can be a bit deeper.
Yep.
There's a whole other layer. And so at the heart of it, this is about communicating. It's not about
Right.
email marketing.
Absolutely. And that's cool because I've had a lot of people say that too, which is good because that's kind of what I wanted. It is about how to communicate. It's not email is my preferred medium because that's my business,
Mhm.
but it does apply to anything and everything you do. And when you think about these things, you're thinking about, okay, am I within integrity of what I'm doing? Am I being loyal to this person right now? If you're saying bad things behind their back, you ain't being loyal, right? Am I being kind? Which, if people stop and ask that question,
Yeah.
half of Facebook could go away, right? Um,
Well, I'm sitting here. As soon as we finish, there's a Google review, and I intend to be the person that if I don't have anything good to say, I'm not going to leave a review. I left a Google review, and I think I even started it with if I could leave 0 stars, I would.
yeah.
And was not kind, was very upset. I mean, sending off this Google review felt good in the moment,
Mhm.
but here we are years removed from the situation, and those employees were just doing what they were told. It was at the time where I don't know if you experienced this. You
Right.
could just go renew your license,
Right.
but they were moving forward and doing the real ID, and so
Hmm.
you had to bring in documents,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
some of that, communication wasn't, government being what it is. I didn't know, and it was at a time where after COVID, you had to reschedule point and like everything,
It
perfect
was a
storm,
mess. Yeah.
perfect storm.
Yeah.
And leaving this review in the moment felt good.
Hmm.
And now I'm sitting here, and it has bothered me on and off throughout the years, but not
Right.
enough to remove it.
You know, so here's a thought on that. There's two pieces to it. Number one, it's in the past.
Yeah.
It's already done. At this point, it's already done the damage. So it's not
Right.
going to make any difference at any point because it's been years. But also, I'm not opposed to like there are times where like especially if you're looking at like restaurants or services or stuff where customer service is important and their customer service is horrible, they need to be aware. So there is a way though to you can give a very objective view, which may be negative,
Mhm.
but it's an objective view to give them that positive feedback. And I'm a big fan of that. So, like, I've had times where, even at like at restaurants, if I have a bad experience, I'll talk to the manager and I'm like, hey, here's what's going on. This is what was happening. This is how they dealt with it. I don't think that's appropriate at all. But I'm staying calm the whole time.
Yeah.
And I think that people, especially in today's world, so many people in customer service are just horrible. They don't care. And so they need to be aware of that. And the management needs to be aware of that. So there's a way, and it's not a matter of don't say the thing, it's how do you say it? What words do you say? Because you can give your opinion, you can give your experience, and it can be a negative one, but you can do it in a very objective way that doesn't make you look like a jerk.
Yeah.
And that to me, that's in integrity. As long as you're keeping things factual, not emotional. When you start making it emotional, that's when everything falls apart.
Mm.
And, we have emotions. We're humans. Nothing's going to change that. But we need to learn, especially in difficult situations, we need to be better at controlling those emotions. It's so like going back to like Stoicism with Bushido. Stoicism really focuses on how you control your emotions, and it's a lot to do with um, how you react to the things around you.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of that. And I studied Stoicism many years before I got into Bushido. And one reason why I like the two is because like Bushido, going opposite of Stoicism, Stoicism teaches you how to react. Bushido teaches you how to act.
Mm.
And so to me, the two are just opposite sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm so into all of this stuff, is because they teach us how to act originally. So how do you put yourself out there? What are the things you say? Don't be trolling people.
No,
So that's the good side, the Bushido side. And then you got the other side of, if somebody's trolling you, how do you respond?
it can be so hard.
It can be,
Yeah.
and this happens in everything. Not just social media. Obviously, it's the worst in social media, but in person. One example is like, as somebody's speaking on stage, there's always, just like any comedy show, there's a heckler. There's always got to be at least one,
Mhm.
and somebody can totally disagree with me, and that's okay. I mean, I was even actually on a podcast last week, and the host disagreed with me on something that I said, and I was like, no worries, based on my experience, here's what I think. This is my results. This is my client's results. And guess what? The most important thing is, you just got to test it and see what works for your audience, because everybody's different and you might have a different experience than I do. And that's okay. I'm not worried about it. And somebody has, and that's the thing too. I learned this from, um, are you familiar with T. Harv Eker?
No.
Okay, so he wrote a book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and he used to be part of. It was his company was Peak Potentials. They sold out and got bought out and all kinds of different things. So I don't even know who does what now,
Mhm.
but they used to do these big seminars, and one of the things that they did was, toward at the very beginning of the seminar, they'd have like 300-400 people in a room, sometimes way more than that, and they'd say, okay, we got 3 days. We're going to go through all of this stuff that we're going to teach you guys. And some of it is going to resonate really well. You're going to love it. Some of it, you're going to not like it at all. This is all coming from our experience. This is what works for us. If you don't like it, throw it away. Don't worry about it. And I love the way that they said that, because we all live from our experience. I've had people literally say, well, email is horrible. It's dead. It doesn't work. And I'm like, yeah, that's because that's your experience.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And, I mean, my joke says, we're literally on the back of the book. It's not, email's not dead. Your emails just suck. But, and I say that jokingly, but kind of serious. But we all come from an experience, and that experience is part of everything in our world, from growing up, to our family, to our friends, to our business experiences, where you live, the type of people you do business with. I mean, there's so many factors in it. We could never all have the same experience. It's just not possible. And so I'm a big one of, if you're willing to try it, if what you got isn't working, try something new, try something different,
Yep.
and test it out. Be open to it. Worst case scenario, you were right. It doesn't work. And if it totally does not resonate with you, and there's things out there, there's a lot of stuff out there that I'm like, nope, ain't gonna do it, because it does not resonate with me. It goes against my core values. And for some people, it worked just fine. They're making their millions. Ain't gonna be me, because it just doesn't work for me. I find it. Some of it is, to me, under my guidelines, it's unethical,
Mhm.
or just shady, or just not very nice. And I don't like that. I like being known as a guy that's nice. And so we all have our experiences. And so with all of that, sticking to what works for you, but not shutting the door on everything, being open to listening, But then at the end of the day, it's okay to disagree. It's not that you're right, you're wrong, or they're right, they're wrong. It's just, it's a different experience and a difference of opinion. And that's kind of where I land with most stuff these days.
You Here we were. I should have just left it as the people whisperer because we've gotten so many life lessons out of just your experience with nurturing people in email marketing.
Yeah.
As you're speaking, I'm
You
going
didn't
back.
think email was going to like be something this deep, did you?
No, I did not. And I mean, I felt, I know you on this one level of, SCN,
Hmm.
and you are our chapter president and you lead the meetings, and I felt I kind of know where we're going to go with this, and had no idea. And as we're sitting here speaking, I'm going back to some of my therapy that I'd been doing since 2019, and
Hmm.
so proud because last month my therapist said, Danny, I think you're ready to go and on an as needed basis. And like 7 years later, right? But
Oh,
of doing the work,
congratulations.
thank you. But you were speaking to the communications and not coming from a place of reacting. And I was going back to a moment where a couple of days ago, it's World Cup time.
Hmm.
And it's been so beautiful to see the US just open up to these other countries and the other countries experiencing us.
Right.
And it's been so beautiful to witness the joy online. And there's so many countries participating in the World Cup. I do have my USA jersey. I am cheering for the home team, but I do have a Mexican heritage background. And so I had a Mexican jersey on the day that Mexico was playing
Right.
Czechia. And someone told me, a Mexican, like basically they were like, Mexican, you're American. And I was taken aback when I did not expect it from this person.
Right.
And I have found the pause. What has helped is the pause.
Yeah.
And so I'm listening, to what you're saying and being understanding again. That there is where the homework comes out, right? Where you're reading, you can read all this stuff, but in the moment where
Right.
it's tested, that's where it's okay. That's where the work is. You see it in
Yeah.
action. And I just said yes. I am Mexican American, and they pushed back and said no. And
Hmm.
Dale Carnegie, you can't win an argument. So I,
Yeah.
just I was like, yeah, I get it. So and let it be. It was very hard.
It's so funny because people like those kind of comments. I mean, I would just like stare at them and go like, huh? It's like, why would you even say something like that to somebody? Because it's like, if you want to support a team for whatever reason, and yes, you've got heritage in there, so that's a good valid reason. Or if you're supporting a team versus the other team who also is not American, huh? You're like, why would that make a
I,
difference? And who cares what jersey somebody's wearing? Why would somebody even that obviously that person is got their own issues. And
I
so that is, it's good that you took the pause and didn't lash out, because that's not the good way to do it.
right.
But it amazes me. What's the best quote that I just heard? I think it's just hilarious, and I got to get it into memory enough that I can use it on a whim. Um, you must be very proud of yourself, because no matter how hard wisdom has chased you, you can outrun it.
I Yes, I read that
And
one.
yeah, and I was like, when I saw that, I was like, that is the best comeback line ever. Because sometimes you have those conversations with people and you're like, yeah, that I should use that one right here with that guy. You know, it's good that you've gotten to a point where you can stop and make that pause and stop, think about it. Because first and foremost, yeah, the amount of energy that goes into a negative reaction
Mhm.
is insane. I
It
mean,
really
it's
is.
so much energy that gets wasted, and we do have a finite amount of energy. Introvert extrovert stuff has a lot to do with it, but also positive versus negative, and more importantly, what we have going on today is chaos energy. And
That's a good way to say it.
it is, when you have those kind of things, they're exerting energy to you, I'm just like, why would you waste the breath to say such silly things, you know? And then on your part, on the response side, is like, don't bother wasting the breath and the energy. Save that energy for something good.
Mm.
You know, you can say something nice to somebody else. You can have more energy to yell and scream and lose your voice because the team got a goal, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, where we put our energy and where we focus our thoughts is so detrimental to everything, especially our health. You know, one of the things that I have found for me personally, and I've had a lot of people that have brought this up to me. They're like, you look really good for your age, which is cool because I see some people that are significantly younger than me, and I'm like, dude, whatever you're doing, it's wrong.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yes.
And a lot of it, honestly, it's not because I'm ultra healthy by any means. I don't eat necessarily the best stuff all the time. I'm okay with that.
I don't either.
But I always look at the fact that I think that what the hardest problem, what makes us older and what wears our body out is stress
Mm.
and where we spend our energy. And that's one reason why I've been so deep into all of this stuff that we talked about today, is because when you can come from that kind of calm and build that barrier to the negative and the chaos energy and all that kind of stuff, it helps you stay somewhat healthier. There's things you can't that have nothing to do with that you can't control.
Right.
But there's a lot of things like I know people who they really, really look hard, and a lot of it has to do with because they've had a lot of stress.
Yeah.
If you notice people that are very negative, they a lot of times they look sickly,
Hmm.
and it's like you're spending your energy on these negative things, and it's hurting you. It's physically hurting you.
Yeah.
I want to avoid that. You know?
1,000%.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so yeah, definitely how you react to silly, stupid things other people are doing is such an important thing. And I'm a big fan of just like, you know what, whatever, you do you. I'm cool.
When I prepare for these episodes, in my head, I like to do visualization
Hmm.
exercises, and
Yeah.
we're sitting at a kitchen table. Growing up, life happened around the kitchen table.
Hmm.
And Eli, sitting here with you, I feel I've put myself at such a disadvantage by not having a kitchen table here because you and as it is, it's kind of clicking together the the practices
Hmm.
that you've learned, these seven virtues. Have you applied it to your life? The Stoicism. Your voice is just so even keeled,
Thank you.
and it it has been so just calming sitting with you here. I wish I had a cup of coffee. It has just been so nurturing for my soul to steal one of your words
Well, thank you.
to
I
sit
appreciate that.
here
That
and have
means a
this
lot.
thanks to have this conversation. So before we send you back to the Fort Worth area, across the other side of the world, and please go get your oil changed and your tires aligned before you head out there.
Before, yeah.
What's next on your agenda? I'm like ready for the next book.
Okay, well, I promised myself I wouldn't touch the next book for at least 6 months,
Okay.
which we're already halfway there. But I got some other things I got to work on. However, there is definitely going to be another book. It's going to be all in on the Bushido side of things. I have a sideline
Mm.
project. It's called Seventh Fold Projects. Seventh Fold based on seven virtues. Fold, if you know anything about the art of sword making, so you think of like Japanese katanas, they fold the metal to remove the impurities, and so that's where the name kind of
Mhm.
was mushed together. I do have a Substack that I just launched on that, so it's all in that arena. It's not about email. It's not about business. The comments can apply to business or personal because it is all about communication and how we deal and act and react around the world. But that is a big direction that I am moving towards doing more of that because that is my passion. I feel like when this idea came together that I wanted to start sharing this stuff out, like every year somebody comes up with their word of the year every January, which can always be entertaining.
Yes.
When this
Mine is faithful.
faithful,
Yeah.
okay, well, that's a good one. Um, so mine, when this whole idea started coming together, was purpose.
Where are
And
we sitting?
yeah, it was purpose. And it was like, okay, I think this is really, at the end of the day, out of everything that I do, I feel like this is my purpose. And so I'm leaning more in that direction. The book is definitely on the back burner for a little bit, but there will be one. Absolutely. No question about it. I've already got notes and stuff that I've been putting together for it. So when I'm ready, it'll go very fast. Probably faster than this one did. And so that is a big piece that I really want to go into more, because we are in a society right now that has all the chaos going on.
Yeah.
We are high anxiety. We are very divided. People have lost the ability to communicate, and I feel it's very important that we bring that back. And there are also, for me personally, I found that especially a older generation, we are finding that with everything that is changing so fast, plus all that stuff, we're feeling displaced. We're feeling like we don't know where we belong. We're afraid to say something because somebody's going to get offended. And for a long time, there's a lot of stuff, you see it in TV where, especially the males in the family are talked down and basically said, "Okay, yeah, you're an idiot," and it's
Mm.
hurt so many people. And
Mhm.
right now, this is a big one that hit me just a couple of years ago, is the fact, like, suicide rates of men over 50 are astronomical.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is not cool. And I know where I'm like, I felt especially in 2020, 2021, in all that range. I'm like, I don't feel like I belong anymore. And the more I talked about it, I found so many other people who felt the same way, especially, and this is not catered to men specifically, but more men, especially older men, that they felt exactly the same way. It's like, I don't even know what to do right now. And so this stuff is very important to me, and I want to put it out there, and I hope that it gets absorbed by all people of all ages, because of the fact that if we all start thinking this way and start thinking about the virtues and coming back to that as our core baseline, there is no way to go except up. It can only get better.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm leaning towards. I don't know how fast that's all going to happen, but it's getting there.
Thank you so much for sitting up with us, Eli. I personally know that this has resonated and it's hit home, and I appreciate you sharing your light with us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Before we close out, Eli said something in this episode about how many older men are quietly struggling. I don't want to move past it. If you're in a hard place right now, or you're worried about somebody who is, you can call or text 988. That's the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free. It's there 24 hours a day, and they take calls about mental health, about suicide, and about substance use. You can also chat at 988lifeline.org. You don't have to be in an emergency to reach out. You just have to want to talk to someone. Next week, Jeff Mercer, friend of the show, is going to be sitting across from me, encouraging me to tell my story. That's right, I'm the guest on With Hat and Cattle. Although, truth be told, I still think I'm working on getting my cattle. A lot of you have asked why the show sounds the way it does, and why I say I want to help people level up their success, and how we're not prisoners to our path. Next week, I'm telling you why. I'm a recovering addict, and that's my story, and it's the reason this podcast exists. It's a different kind of episode, but it might be the one underneath all the others. I'm Dani Rochelle Chow, and this is With Hat and Cattle, stories from people who walk the walk and leave you better off for listening.